Hey,
Here we are.
good morning.
Good morning. Good
It's
morning.
it's our typical Tuesday record day, and then we post on when it gets posted up on Wednesday. Generally speaking, this is Tammy Langowski of Tammy's Intuitive Services, and I'm Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic. And Tammy, where can people find you, and what do you do?
They can find me at tammysintuitive.com. So I'm an intuitive advisor, reader to your questions using clairaudience and clairvoyance as my primary abilities. And I channel some messages from spirit that you can find on social media, Tammy's Intuitive Services, Facebook, Instagram, tammysintuitive.com, on my website. And we'd love to have your questions. We're going to say that in advance, any questions in the future that you would like to throw at us. So that's what I do. And Julie,
Well, I'm
whichever way.
Julie Hawkins, and this
Read
is
it.
Felix.
Aw, hi, Felix.
Um, I'm all the Claires, and that's a very long story, one I won't tell right now. But so I can be found at juliehawkins.com, bizpsychic.com. YouTube is Julie Hawkins, comma the Biz Psychic, and I channel questions once a month that go up on my YouTube channel, and all broken down by questions. And this month was a little bit different because I had more of an interview format with a friend of mine who asks usually very deep, thought-provoking, channeled questions. And so those will be up on YouTube soon. Hopefully, I think in the next couple of days, my VA said I saw a brief email from her. Anyway, what we do is we have fun, and we talk about our cats, as you can see a tail going.
He had to make that appearance right away just to make that point.
Oh gosh,
Ah, Felix.
this is Felix, my little Mr. I call him Mr. Adorable. And I have several cats, and I actually adore each and every one of them in their own special way. Mr. Adorable here is anyway adorable. Anyway,
Yeah.
so what Tammy and I discovered and discussed is that we want to give you our channel. Yes, darling. He takes his paw to tell me he wants more.
Don't stop, Mom.
We want to give you our channeled insights when we start, and then the rest of it's kind of our fun, fluffy, hopefully funny, amusing, relatable. My goal in life is also to make people laugh. So
That's a good thing. It's a great goal to have, right?
Yeah.
Humor is important.
So, Tammy, I open my records and the world right before I come online with you. And I opened them up this morning, and I felt, so this is all coming from spirit now and my guides. I felt such a letdown. It was I am not somebody who's prone to depression or anxiety. It happens once a year, maybe. I don't know. It's just not my thing, thankfully. And I felt such a. It's like we have been in such a heightened state for so long, and all of a sudden now there's this. We can breathe, exhale. No, no. Oh yeah, yeah. And he likes to really aggravate Bella. And it's almost like, how are we going to be back to normal? It's so those are the feelings I'm having. And it just tells you how we got so used to just a heightened state of chaos all the time, 24/7 for 4 years. Even if you don't watch the news or pay attention to any of that, people around you are, and you feel it, sense it, take it in your own right. So I'm breathing. I'm breathing.
The breath says everything there. Yeah.
This is our guidance. Breathe and connect to your heart. Breathe and connect to your heart. It is your most valuable sensor, and allow its peace and love and expansive, joyous feelings to come into you and to emanate out to everybody else. So while I continue to do that, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful and so true, so needed. Thank you, Julie's Guides and Julie. Yeah, I mean, you're right. We've had, as we know, we've had this heightened awareness, this heightened being up here, all the time. And you're right, the breath is always a great thing to come back to. I think for me, I'm feeling that. I think I'm just finding the joy in hearing anybody who's getting the vaccine. I think that's part of that more positive energy. I mean, for most, I know it is for me when I hear about it, because it's something we feel, and just the blessings. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and just really how grateful we are that this came around so quickly. I mean, I won't make a big deal about the whole vaccine, but just, really, right? When you think about that, that in itself is something to be extremely grateful for. There may be some people watching this that beg to differ. That's your own personal thing. My personal feeling is it's a great thing. And I think a lot of people do feel that way, majority wise, I would think. So, that probably adds to that energy of just being able to finally just kind of have a little bit, feel like we're a little bit, there's something helping us, we've needed help. So what I was getting, much like Julie, before we come on here, I just kind of connect to my guides and masters, angels, so forth, just kind of keep that connection high. And then just kind of open up. I was getting a little bit about abundance and manifestation of abundance coming in. Yeah, you too, Julie? Did you have something similar?
Well, yes, I don't want to segue yet, but I will.
Let's go back. Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say on it too. It's interesting, because sometimes we as intuitives can do that too. We might have some similar kind of messages that might come in a different way. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so what I was just getting is, first of all, I think we probably don't have to say this. Really, all of us are worthy of receiving abundance. We come in worthy. We are worthy. We come in worthy. So one thing they like to talk about often is to maybe have us go in and reflect a little bit as to what we feel, or how we feel we are deserving. On what level do we feel we're deserving? Some of us have had really good conditioning as children, that would say, oh yeah, the world's your oyster. You can be whatever you want to be, and all those wonderful things. And then there's some who don't get that message so much, as children. So start there. They just said, start there, because we'd like you to realize that no matter what you came in, well, when you came in with the truth of receiving and worthy of receiving, but no matter what you went through as a child, maybe talk to that a little bit. If you're seeing that there was some messages there that weren't, of the highest and encouraging and supportive, you can change that. And you can change that by having a dialogue with your child. Maybe you see it sitting in front of you, sitting yourself as a child sitting in front of you, see yourself sitting as a child in front of you. And the idea is you're just going to maybe give some of these messages that the most ideal mother would say to, what's wrong, Julie?
Carry on. Oh, cat fight over there.
I figured.
Yeah.
Oh, cats. That's why we talked about cats too. So I've been there, so I'm just laughing. Okay, so yeah, so have a dialogue with your child, right? Of you as a child. If there's words you need to kind of give a new script to, a new idea to, then start there a little bit. So kind of explore a little bit about what you think your beliefs are about manifesting and abundance. Start there. That is really a big one. And you can work with that where it's not set in stone, whatever the conditioning was. We always have abilities to change that and everything. So they're saying, do that. And then, start visualizing. You can't say that enough. Your visualizations are incredibly powerful. Yes. Does timing have to come into it? Yeah. Does maybe what you kind of signed up for in a sense, agreed upon in this lifetime to learn, have something to do with it? Yes, it does. But you can still manifest some incredible abundance in your life, and simple affirmations that I am worthy of receiving abundance. I'm worthy of receiving financial abundance. Financial abundance comes to me easily in all positive ways. I always like to say the all positive ways, because, if one is asking for a financial windfall, make it positive, because sure, people get financial windfalls and not always the best ways. So we want you to be really specific that it is of the higher. It's exciting, it's happy, and you're so worth receiving it. Imagine yourself, see yourself, whether I'm using financial abundance only because that's such a big one, right? People would like to have, sometimes more money, so to speak. So get creative with your visuals, whether it's raining money all over you and you're grabbing it and you're worthy of receiving it. Sure, if you want to also imagine that you're gathering it all up and you're giving some away, that's okay too. You are worthy of receiving. I think when you open up to receiving, you always have an opportunity to give as well. So I think that kind of goes hand in hand. But so your manifestations, affirmations, saying things out loud, and visualizations, and visiting your belief system on receiving and worthiness. You'd be surprised how many people think, well, yeah, I want this, I want it. But if we go dig deeper, there's sometimes blocks, and some of them can be past lifetime things brought over that you're still working through, or it's in this lifetime with conditioning. So start there a little bit. Ask yourself how deserving you are.
We want to add that when they come in, you don't actually come in necessarily with those beliefs, but they may be activated from a karmic
Yeah,
or former life.
great.
So none of us come in with a belief. We learn all that, but some of those situations or that energy may be activated uh, from from karma or former life, simply because it's the lesson that you need to work on. One of the lessons. I loved it. I loved it, Tammy. Great reminders for sure. So one of the things that I wanted to just add to that is when I channel as the biz psychic, I generally channel, kind of, well, I answer questions, number one, and then if there's a commentary, I'll add that. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Day before yesterday, whatever day. I did this interview with a friend of mine who asked his questions, and that will be up later in the week, probably I don't know, whatever day she gets it up this week. And one of the questions was really about the pandemic, and one of the information that we were given was partly about prosperity, and that prosperity is ahead. We know so many people are suffering right now, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, psychically, all of those ways. And so it feeds right into your reminders about your worthiness, because you might be thinking, I've lost my job, I'm on the verge of losing my house or my car, or people who are. Doesn't make you any less worthy, and prosperity is around the corner. We felt that so strongly yesterday. Now, as you mentioned, Tammy, prosperity comes in a variety of ways. So whether it comes as a lifeline from the government until you can be um, have that as your lifeline until your job comes back or a new job is created. There's going to be a lot of new jobs created, a lot of new sectors um, in green areas and infrastructure finally, and a lot of jobs are going to be created and come back. It's it's going to be such a growth and prosperous time. We cannot stress that enough. Next week, no, I don't know, maybe maybe as you get that lifeline from the government, who knows. But it will, we really got strongly that it's gonna, you're gonna start really feeling this, and this turnaround is going to be in about 6 months. So this is mid-January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So actually beginning of July, we should really see a big turnaround in that.
I agree. Kind of what I'm getting about the same timeline too. As of now, energy can shift and change, but anything that I ever get, which I don't try to make predictions so much, but if they come in, we always make sure to understand, for us anyway, that it's, I call it the snapshot of what's currently likely to happen by what's being read at the time. So hey, if you like the idea of that, put all the more insight into, visualization, I guess, into that, and acceptance of that. Yeah, so that's great, Julie. No, that's really good.
It's so
Yeah.
funny that you say that, Tammy, because usually when I give a private reading, I say that as well. Now, this is the energy at the time, at this moment in time. It can change depending upon what guidance we give you and that you follow or don't follow, or the things you do independently and of free will. And our world and our country is the same. So yes, we that is the snapshot as we see it too. So we're
Yeah,
so like high five,
I know.
sister.
And I was going to say too is that something about the idea that if there's anything, really any reader that ever gives you information, psychic, intuitive, whatever, however you refer to that, of anything in the future, and let's say it doesn't come true, so to speak, right? There can be a couple of reasons. We might as well, I'm going to touch on that because it really is important for people to understand that, like Julie was kind of saying, well, we say too, is if there's something that you hear that you like, put more energy in that direction. If there's something you don't, you can work at ways of releasing some of that. You may still have the lesson before you. But what I find too sometimes is that what can happen is, okay, let's say somebody really wants something, right? They really want to manifest something. They'd like to have something. And maybe it says it's coming or whatever. They get a message, whether it's from us or somebody else you go to a reading, have a reading with, and it doesn't happen. Oftentimes it's interesting because you might have fears around receiving some of that are deep, deep seated. And when you hear somebody say it's coming, sometimes what I've seen for people is the fear go, the block happens because they say they want this, but they may not really actually be ready for it. And that then can make a prediction not true. So I'm not saying that's every situation, but it definitely can be in some situations. So always, work that, like, how ready am I really for that? Are there any fears around it? Should I be working with that on myself? Anyway, I just want to add that because I do know that sometimes, that's a question for people in general about readings, I think.
And such great information and caveats today. Thank you so much for that, Tammy. It's so true. And I mean, the whole idea is for you as humans to become aware. This is one of my favorite things personally, is awareness, of what you think, what you say, that you're not aware that you're saying, that comes out of your mouth 100 times a day, or what you just automatically think. And to once you do that, because that's the power of manifestation. So yes, awareness of that, and be aware if you are not in alignment for that, it will not come in, it will not happen. It
Yeah.
reminds me, so I just want to share this brief story. I worked with a client, several times. I gave her readings, and her question, I get this question frequently. It's not, as I've told you privately, Tammy, it's not always my favorite topic. When am I going to meet my soulmate?
Oh,
When am I going to have a family, kids, blah, blah, blah. It's not really my favorite topic. But um, because we have to deliver sometimes disappointing news, right? And we did that for a couple of years as we gave her these readings. And then a couple of years, but she didn't like it. We told her, if you do this work, that will shift, that will change. You have work to do.
Mhm.
And she didn't like it. She stopped coming to me for a couple of years, and then boom, I just gave her a reading a few weeks ago. And as soon as I opened up for her, I went, "Oh, you worked on family stuff, didn't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, how did you know?" And I'm like, "Well, come on, But beside that, I'm like, you cleared that block. This opens the way for you to manifest that relationship. And I was a little reluctant to tell her that because I didn't want to get her hopes up, but it did.
Yeah.
She did the work and it opened her up for that possibility. So that stuff that we aren't aware of or that we don't want to work on, it's so impactful. You can blame it on everybody else, but the bottom line is what you think is your reality, and it's your life and only your life and nobody
That's
else.
right. I
Nobody.
love that you reflected that back to her, Julie. I feel like that was really good for her. It feels like whatever she does with it, it feels like whatever she does with it is obviously her own, decision, but you were meant to reflect that back to her. That was meant to come in really strongly for her so she could see that she's actually done some work. So that's great. And you're right. I mean, it's just there's homework. Often I've had my clients say, like, I always come away with homework. Well, that's how we work. I mean, not every reading necessarily has to be like that, but you know what I mean? It's like we all are a work in progress here on the planet Earth. This is why we come on in. Fertile ground for learning, opportunity abounds. Whether you think you have it or not, you do. It's in the mind as to where we think, am I really limited or am I limitless? You just said.
Yes. Do you know, it's funny, when I first started giving readings, well, when I took my initial weekend training, and I'm like, oh, this is just a formality for me. After I took it, I realized that, which was fine. I needed that validation. And then I went on and did the teacher's training and blah, blah, blah. My mentor, we don't predict, we never give answers with time, we just don't do that. And as I began to give readings, they began to tell me timelines for things. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. And they're like, look, if we didn't want you to have this, we wouldn't give it to you. And I'm like, okay, that's just who I am. And that's how I bring in the energy. And it happens, I would say, in 95% of my readings.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I
So
think it's a great thing. I do. There are some intuitive and readers that work a lot, and I definitely get those. In fact, I'll I'll have them come back and say, "Oh, as you said, Tammy, this," and it's so funny because they'll say like something happened, right? But it's funny. My reaction is always like, "Oh, that's great." And I also want to put it quickly by the wayside because I don't like a lot of emphasis on, you know what I mean, like if the timing was right or wrong or whatever. So I do appreciate when they tell me that, but. Yeah, no, there are definitely intuitives who get a lot of information on future type things. I don't have I think it's great. I mean, I don't have a negative opinion of that at all, if it comes through like that for people.
I cannot help it.
Yeah. I know, and I'm the same way. If it comes in, I just say it. So, yeah.
Okay, I feel so much better because you know what? When I opened, as I said initially at the beginning of our recording here, I kind of felt that sense of letdown. And now I just feel, oh, I feel good and happy. I feel myself again. So
Good.
it's
That's great.
always
That's what we
good to
want you to feel.
discuss that. Anything else you think that your guides, my guides need to get out at the moment?
No, but for some reason they just showed me a cherry on top. Okay, let me explore that. It won't take long. I won't go on with it, but what's the cherry on top? Look for the cherry on top. Short and sweet. Look for the cherry on top. They've shown me like a sundae, and it's not all the whole sundae. It's like here. What's the
I want
cherry?
the Sunday, forget the cherry.
I know. It's like, wait, what? I can't have the rest of it. No, they just, the cherry is the topping, what would be the metaphor? It's just the icing on the cake, so to speak. And that, always look for what serves you in a happy way. What is it that you want to give to yourself? What is it that feels good to you to give to yourself? I always say it in a healthy way. I mean, you know what I mean by that.
Exactly.
It's okay to have a piece of chocolate. I always say that, you know what I mean though. You just don't want to, preferably you don't indulge in things like a whole day of just, or a week of just things, indulging in things that are not really necessarily good. But you know what we mean. It's like look for the silver lining they're showing again. You know, just look for the things that, and remember gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Can't say that enough, right? We all have something to be grateful for at the end of the day, even if you have to hunt and peck for it in your mind and memory. There
Being
is some.
alive,
Yep, exactly.
just being alive in this
Yep,
moment in time.
yep.
So Felix is just saying hello.
Hi, Felix.
You're not
My
Stefan.
two are always in the other room. If I had the door open, then be kind of crazy, but yeah.
You cannot see him, but he is literally right in front of my monitor, my screen. I'm like, come on, please.
They just
I can't,
totally know. They just
I
like,
can't
this is the,
see.
he's like, this is where you look. So this is where I must be.
Okay, my little man, come on. Come here. Find a place. You can lay down. You're a good boy. Yours are quiet and in the other room. How sweet is that? Yes.
No, for now they are. Yes, for now they are. Well, the door is closed. I had to give them their dry food, make sure to get that to them before I start, or my little Siamese Maine Coon mix would be. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, Julie. It's the funniest thing, speaking of cat stuff. Just, I might have said this before, so I'm not sure. I told you he's large, right? He's a large cat. And he's got, the baby is
No.
kitten-like. I'm like, where'd you go? Baby is kitten-like, little meow. And did I tell you one time when we were at the vet with him in the waiting room I had him in his carrier. I'll make this fast. Anyway, he's in the carrier and he's doing that. I mean, totally sounds kitten-like. And there's a lady sitting there and she's like, oh, she couldn't see him yet, you know. And she's like, oh, is that a kitten? And immediately she's coming over and I'm already chuckling within, like, oh, wait till she sees him. It was the funniest thing because she's expecting this little fluffy, cute kitten.
Oh, it's
Her
fun.
eyes went like this big when she saw him.
Sometimes the bigger they are, the higher their meow, right?
Yeah. And that Siamese, I think, in him has that, that kind of higher pitch. It's pretty funny. Anyway, I never forgot that because I thought, oh, wait till she sees him. Yeah.
Mismatch, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I have, as I told you, I have 8 cats, and one of them is just kind of an incessant talker
Hmm.
about nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pretty sure we all know people like that too.
Exactly, we do. And you know what, in all your cats, if you got a lot of cats, there's going to be that one that's just
Time, all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Nothing. Just
yeah,
just feeling like I want to,
exactly. Likes the sound. Sometimes they like the sound of their voice. I've gotten that before too, when they're just like they just like the sound to vocalize. Like you said, there's people like that too, I guess.
Well, okay. Anything else for the week that we should enjoy the week? I'm hearing enjoy the week.
Yeah.
Um,
Enjoy the week. I agree. Manifest, 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 visualize. They're also saying practice it. Practice it for a few days. I always say this. I said probably in another one that like my guys always say like 3 days. They like to give a little 3 days. Take 3 days where you're like visualizing, you're manifesting, you're conscious about it. See what happens. I have done those kinds of things, and it's pretty incredible how it actually played out from what I sat down and did. So have some fun practicing that a little bit. Yeah, that's
I
what
love
we
that. I love that, Tammy, and I'm going to invite you to remind us all of that every week because I personally need that reminder. 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Magic in three. There's really magic in three. And I do see things happen in threes, uncannily so. I mean, I wish
You too.
next time I start making notes of the things that I see happen. It can be something really subtle, even, but sure enough, it happened in threes. It's just really, it's bizarre. But imagine if your affirmations are said 3 times out loud, 3 times a day. That's, my guides always like that little formula in front of a mirror because there's power in number 3. So have fun with it. Just explore it. See what happens for you.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Always.
Okay, so I'm thinking maybe that's it for 2 Psychic Moms for the week. And again, Tammy's Intuitive Services, Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, questions. We'd love to have your questions.
Yes, please send us questions. You can do that on Two Psychic Moms on our YouTube channel. Just I get the email. I get the email because I set it up, but I always forward it to Tammy too. So, okay, did you want to come back? Oh, I'm never enough for them.
Of course not.
All right. All right. So enjoy your week. Can you believe it? We are in the third week of January. Almost it's crazy how time flies. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. Going fast because, time really isn't a thing. That's really it.
No, it's our creation for sure.
Exactly.
All right.
Um,
So we
yep.
wish you peace, happiness, and prosperity. And until next time, Julie
All right.
Hawkins and Tammy Langowski.
Tammy Langowski. Blessings to all of you. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay if you know you're going to be okay. Decide you're going to be okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.